Well, hello there, motherfuckers, and I'm here with a response to What Culture Wrestling's new video that they got out. The 10 reasons you hate modern wrestling thanks to the Attitude Era. I don't know really what to say here, but once again, it is another video. You're bashing the Attitude Era. Oh, the Attitude Era, it's so terrible. It's awful, right? Just a terrible, terrible time. The highest ratings, the greatest stars, the greatest moments, the greatest storylines, the greatest characters. Horrible. What a terrible time. Oh, stop it. Okay. So in all honesty, they don't really bash this era and say that it's bad. But I understand. I'm not going to be one of these knee-jerkers on this video. It's going to obviously be one of their most controversial videos. This is like one of the first times they're actually coming out and saying, you know, that there's a big problem with the Attitude Era. So, OTRS did a video like this. And I did one back in the day where it was the 15 reasons why the Attitude Era was not good or sucked, something like that. You know, it seemed like a video mostly to, you know, just rile up fans. So, you know, remember, if you can make a video that gets views, it doesn't matter if it gets thumbed down to hell, you're still giving that person attention, right? So, you know, you can hate on it all you want. So here, I wrote down the 10 reasons, and I'm going to respond to all of them. So at number 10, overbearing authority figures. So they talk about McMahon, and Vince McMahon started this whole thing about, you know, a tyrannical boss. You know, and obviously it was Vince McMahon running roughshod over the WWE during the Attitude Era. Then you had like the McMahon-Helmsley faction. And then they talk about how it's been a runaway train, and they've ever since then just had constant authority figures. You know, Eric Bischoff, Stephanie McMahon. Some were better than others. Like Eric Bischoff was a great authority figure. He was a great successor to Vince McMahon, even though McMahon never truly went away. And I don't see a problem with authority figures. It is the way how authority figures are implemented into the show. Stephanie is overbearing, but he talks about being emasculated. McMahon rarely ever emasculated any of his talent. Maybe the only time he did this was with, like, Zach Gowen, for example, you know, where he had to, like, you know, beat him up at Vengeance on a pay-per-view match and all this. But, you know, you had, it was entertaining stuff, and he was getting involved, and, you know, McMahon would generally make an ass out of himself. He'd get beat up as well. He most of the time would end up looking like a goof at the end of the day. After all, he got his head shaved at Mania and all this, you know, so I can't really attack McMahon that much. Stephanie, on the other hand, it should, more of the blame when you mention this, What Culture, should be put at Stephanie. She's the one who emasculates everybody. You know, so it's or de-emasculates, I should say. You know, it shouldn't be a matter of tearing into McMahon. It's not his fault. You're going to attack Vince for doing a good job. He played the role of an authority figure excellently. So you're going to attack him because of that. Really? That you're going to just say the whole thing of authority figures is bad because of that? Because somebody set the bar. Because somebody did so well, that's a bad thing. It reminds me of Wrestling with Regret, when he said that the number one problem, the worst McMahon storyline was McMahon Austin. And he said the reason he was putting it number one, he said, because nobody could ever top that storyline. I am sick and tired of hearing all these excuses about, you know, how, like, we should blame the Attitude Era for doing so well because it set the bar too high. I've never heard this before. So should we all attack Seinfeld because it was one of the highest rated sitcoms? Fuck Seinfeld! It was too good for its own good! This is the most ridiculous. Should we attack Michael Jordan for being too great of a basketball player? How the fuck does anybody come up with this shit? Oh, it was so great, it was bad. What? Huh? What are you even talking about? How could something be so good that we could blame it for being too good? The Beatles they were too good of a band. Fuck them. Because I mean, really, like, so every single other band, should blame the Beatles because they can't get as popular as them. You can't get as popular as Elvis Presley. You can't get it as popular as the Rolling Stones. So you're gonna say, so should like Whitechapel be mad at the Rolling Stones? Fuck you, Rolling Stones! I'll never be as popular as you. You're too good. You see what I'm saying? And number 9, modern commentary. Basically what they say here is JR was too good. The King and JR were too good of commentators. So David Otunga, that's effort right there. They're actually Corey Graves with his fancy haircut. I mean, it's not even like they're trying. JR was good, so once again, fuck JR because he was too good. That's not a problem with the era. It's just that they actually had sense. Russo was there, and he was talking sense into McMahon. But during the Ruthless Aggression era, we still had good commentary. So how is this just the Attitude Era's fault? You see how stupid it sounds? I understand you're making this video because you want to make waves here in the YWC. But fuck, I mean, it sounds goddamn retarded. You're going to bash JR. I mean, you're not bashing him. You're saying how good he is. But really, you're kind of just turning around and being counterproductive here, saying that, oh, JR was too good for... And this is a persistent theme throughout your list. JR actually put emotion. I understand that Michael Cole was getting screamed at in his ear by McMahon, but so did JR to a point, and he's even admitted that. He says that Michael Cole does a better job of being a shill than him because he could never listen to McMahon that much. But that is their fault for not standing up to McMahon. Nobody says to McMahon ever, well, you know what, you need to stop this shit already and let us, talk normally on commentary without you yelling in our ear every 2 seconds. Don't blame JR. Don't blame the era. Don't blame... Remember, it was a different time, according to Road Dogg. At number 8, lack of in-ring focus. I'm so sick and tired of this fucking shit. That, so we're blaming the Attitude Era for like showing that it's okay not to have a lack of in-ring focus. The thing is, there's too much in-ring now. That's the fucking problem. I don't understand, how are we blaming the Attitude Era? That's why they're saying there's too much in-ring focus now. People are not interested because during the Attitude Era, I guess they were told that it was okay. And he quotes McMahon from Beyond the Mat, saying that we're more interested in making movies, telling stories. So that's always been the WWE's thing until recently. Because the thing is, not everybody is interested in sitting there watching 20-minute fucking matches that go absolutely nowhere and do nothing. I mean, no one's interested in that. They've all moved on to MMA, or they're watching other sports and more entertaining shows on TV. It has nothing to do with the in-ring focus. The thing is, it's just not entertaining to watch. The matches aren't even good. They're shitty. Nobody even fucking sells. They're just spot fest. They fucking suck. Just because you guys like that style doesn't mean there's a problem with the Attitude Era. At number 7, Triple H. Now, I get this. I don't really see how this kind of fits in, but, really, Triple H is a good wrestler. He's a good promo, and you guys even say this. But, I understand, but, he wasn't even the big star throughout the whole Attitude Era. He didn't even start gaining that much steam until the middle of '99. and you're going to put the blame on how things are now on Triple H. He's barely even there. You talk about him stealing the spotlight. He showed up at Survivor Series and didn't show up again until WrestleMania. He's not. That's not even, you know, if we were talking about 2004 and he was on TV every 2 seconds and he was kind of burying a lot of people, then we could talk turkey. But now the Triple H argument is kind of a moot point, to say the least. Maybe you can make an argument that maybe he might have driven fans away during that time period. That's when the ratings started to decline. You know, when it was like Evolution and everything, wrestling started to lose even more popularity from what I saw at the time. But, you know, to really make him a spot on the list, it doesn't really make any sense as it relates to the Attitude Era versus how things are now. If you want to blame him from a creative standpoint for having the shit product that we have now, that is, but you didn't even say that. At number 6, the sanitized Extreme Wrestling. If anything, the product is even more dangerous than it is now. And I'm going to get to this point in a little bit about something you said that sounded fucking retarded. And I'm going to call you out on that as well, as I've been doing throughout this video. But yes, there's no blood, there's no chair shots, and people still ask for this shit. They can't do that now. They've had too many problems. So, you know, I get why they don't do that. And this is probably one of your strongest points that you have. Fans kind of demand this, but they can't get this because it wouldn't be safe. But this is not a safe product anymore. It's actually more dangerous, and you're gonna say it later on, and I'm gonna tell everybody when you do say it. So this is unreasonable. So at number 6, I do tend to agree. People need to stop. Yes, we can't have the chair shots to the head, but the concussions and shit, it's way too dangerous. At number 5, the anti-hero. So you say that, you know, the anti-hero, Stone Cold, killed the babyface, the happy-go-lucky babyface. And the happy-go-lucky babyface was never a thing, because Hulk Hogan was not a happy-go-lucky babyface. The Macho Man was not a happy-go-lucky babyface. The Ultimate Warrior was not a happy-go-lucky babyface. That was never over. Never. No one was ever, hey, ha-ha. No. I'm sorry, but the Rocky Maivia thing that you're kind of referring to, that thing was never over. Nobody smiled. Hulk Hogan rarely smiled. Macho Man rarely smiled. This wasn't a thing. So I don't know where you have this example, and then you show gullible babyface. You show a picture of Macho Man and Hulk Hogan. They were gullible babyface. No, I think Hulk Hogan never looked like a goof on TV. He never, you know, was that happy-go-lucky. He never got bamboozled by anybody. You know, maybe when the Mega Powers exploded, the Macho Man turned on him. That was maybe about it. But they'd have been an established team for a while, so it wasn't like he was gullible or anything. So, the thing is with the anti-hero, is you're talking about Stone Cold and the fact that the babyface had to be edgier and shit. It's not a matter of everybody having to be super edgy. Batista, you know, in shit wasn't exactly edgy. And John Cena, you know, he was edgier. You know, he got over for a time. You know, he still is, you know, but he was massively popular at one time. But the thing is, it's not a fact of Stone Cold being to blame. It is creative for not figuring out how to write for these guys and keep them consistently popular. It was the thing with John Cena. When the crowd started to turn on him, they didn't know how to write around that. They didn't know how to have Cena address the crowd. And this just spiraled out of control. And creative only got worse and worse. And so they, you know, being the new guy, they were changing creative like every couple of months or something like that. And so they would just take a little bit of what they were doing prior to them coming into the creative team and carry it over to the new team. And then they would just keep repeating the same ideas that were not working over and over. And that's why you have the complete mess that you do of baby faces not being over, people not getting over. And just the thing is, Stone Cold was a really strong star. But I just don't like this idea of you guys bashing people because somebody did too well in their role and because creative was too good. All the pieces, McMahon was probably as sane as he ever was. Vince Russo and Ed Ferraro were there, a very strong creative team. Creative was very small, very minuscule, so there wasn't 1,000 ideas flying around the room every which way. It was very contained. And everybody really had a chance to talk and get their ideas to mold over, and there wasn't like 1,000 fucking things going on. They weren't all worried about social media or, you know, how they could promote the network. They were focused on the show. That's what mattered, and that was why Stone Cold had such success, because they were so focused on it. They lack focus now. They lack drive. They lack any creative ideas at all. They're too scared to stand up to McMahon. It has nothing to do with Stone Cold doing too good of a performance. And number 4, heavily scripted promos. You know, the Attitude Era is to blame because it gave birth to those promos. This is not 100% true, because Vince Russo said even people like Jeff Jarrett needed to have their promos heavily scripted for them. A lot of them required an outline. So once again, ignorance is bliss. Talking out of your ass. There were some scripted promos. But the thing was, McMahon trusted these stars more. There were less yes men back then. There were more people standing up to him, telling him when his ideas sucked. Nobody's doing that right now. That's why we have Stephanie McMahon just fucking de-emasculating every fucking person on the roster, because, you know, no one's standing up and saying shut this bitch up. No one is saying anything. No one's telling McMahon his product sucks. Even Fox, who's offered him fucking $1 billion to buy fucking SmackDown. So the scripted promos, yes, I agree, they're bad now, but, you know, the Attitude Era raised the bar. So, in other words, we're supposed to hate on the Attitude Era because it set the bar too high and they had people that were better on the mic, and we had a creative team that was actually working with the wrestlers, sitting down with the wrestlers, getting to know who they were, getting in the shoes of these wrestlers, and actually giving them promos that they could deliver that would sound good and fit in with their character. But nowadays, they don't do that. We have Finn Balor. Balor clubs for everybody. And I don't think he's ever even spoken those words. Corey Graves now just says it for him. Number 3, one-track storytelling. You know, I agree. Once again, all these points are good. You're actually realizing the faults, which is something that you don't do in every single WhatCulture video. But the thing is, once again, you're blaming the Attitude Era for we're supposed to set the bar so low because creative is no good. So you're telling us we should just pretty much deal with the bad storylines because the Attitude Era just had so many good storylines. And you say that, you know, you think that the Attitude Era was overrated when it came to the quality of stories. I don't know. The one that everybody always likes to go after was the greater power. Oh, it was McMahon. That didn't make sense to predict. Yeah, okay, but it still kept people watching. It made people watch that episode when they had the reveal. And it wasn't like they ever lost ratings after that episode. They were still very high, and they would still go on to do some of the more high-performing segments on Raw, even after that, which you consider to be a debacle. You know, not in this video, but you've addressed it a number of times on WhatCulture. Fuck that segment, right? It's always what you guys say. But, so we're supposed to just sit there and be like, the Attitude Era sucks. Storylines are too good. These are shitty right now. These storylines would be shitty even if the Attitude Era didn't even exist. Because we would still even have fucking storylines from the NWA and the AWA that were superior. You didn't even have to have these big soap opera style storylines like the Attitude Era to just have better storylines. Storylines like Ric Flair and Terry Funk were even fucking better than that shit. You didn't even have to even try that hard to really have storylines better than they are now. I mean, this is complete, you know, horse shit. I mean, like, storylines, there are no storylines, really. What storylines are there that they have now? There's absolutely fucking nothing. Nakamurphy threw a pen across the table. AJ gets all freaked out. Those are the stories that we're supposed to love. Just supposed to sit there and accept. And number two, the current headliners. I can't believe that you actually admitted that Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. Finally, somebody on WhatCulture that's actually using their fucking noggin for a change. But you said that the way how everybody's booked and written for, there's no way that they could get over to the level of a Stone Cold and The Rock. Once again, blame creative. Basically, this whole list, blame creative. Blame McMahon. Don't blame the Attitude Era. Once again, I feel like this is another attack on Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. Oh, you guys, you ruined the WWE with your creative stylings. No, the thing was, they did too good of a job on creative because they couldn't find any other guys. McMahon needs to just be better at hiring people because this creative sucks, and they're also scared shitless of saying anything to him. I'm sure there might be some good ideas that get shot down. McMahon's not in the right frame of mind. He's bringing back the XFL, for God's sakes. I mean, the guy, someone's got to just tell him, McMahon, fucking slap him across the face and say, bro, seriously, this product fucking sucks. I don't even know how Fox is offering them that amount of money. At number one, PG. You say that PG, would sterilize the product. There's, many people blame PG and everything. There were many Raws, though, during the Attitude Era that were rated PG. Like in early 1998 that were still pretty raunchy. I don't know, but I've seen shows on TV that are rated PG that get away with a lot more than WWE is willing to do. So but once again, that is horse shit once again. The PG could really bring them far. They could just, they're just not pushing the envelope of PG. And I understand that they want to just play it safe for investors, whatever the case may be. But then you went on, and this gets back to the sanitized extreme wrestling point that you had. You said that this is one of the safest periods in WWE history. You, sir, are retarded as fuck. Barely anybody during the Attitude Era, with the exception of Droz, which is an extreme case, got injured. Stone Cold's neck was wear and tear, and it stemmed from the pile driver. But aside from those incidents, most wrestlers just had to get surgery due to wear and tear. There were so many situations in the past couple of years. Daniel Bryan having to retire due to too many concussions for 2 years. Paige getting kicked in the back of the head by that goofball Sasha Banks, effectively ending her career. Seth Rollins, Sting collapsed in the ring due to Rollins powerbombing him into the turnbuckle like a damn moron. This is the safest time in WWE, with wrestlers getting injured. The moment I turn my head to the right, someone's injured. The moment I turn my head to the left, somebody else gets injured. I mean, really? You bring in Kenta, what the fuck is his name now? And he breaks Brian Kendrick's nose. He busts his face wide open. I mean, Hideo Idiocracy, Hideo Itami, right? I mean, safe product. So safe, right? Everyone's just doing so well. You've got to be kidding me. Were you, like, joking? Were you high when you made this? I mean, the fuck? The safest time period in WWE? This list is a fucking joke. All you do is you blame the Attitude Era for doing too well. And it's like people here on my channel all the time that always They're always coming out, oh, you always bring up the Attitude Era too much. So I started using comparisons to the Ruthless Aggression Era. It doesn't matter. It's not just the Attitude Era. Wrestling was still good after the Attitude Era. Ruthless Aggression Era was a pretty good era. I still watched and enjoyed a lot of it. So, you know, I don't understand. It's mostly, I guess, a video to just get clicks so people start raging in your comment section. And I wrote you some comments there, especially when you said the thing about the injuries, because that sounds goofballish to the umpteenth degree. But you can't just blame the Attitude Era for being too good. That doesn't make any fucking sense. Oh, it was too good. The Attitude Era did too well. You know, we need to, you know, call them out on that because the product was doing too well at this point. They can never live up to it. That's their fucking problem. It truly is. Just because they can't get it together and get a good creative team going and get some good storylines and actually write effectively for their current talent, that doesn't fall on the shoulders of the Attitude Era and Vince Russo and Ed Ferrara. The shoulders it falls on is McMahon for fucking up for so many years. That's who you should be blaming. Not the fucking era itself for doing too well. What a bunch of fucking morons. Anyway, guys, this has been your YWC champ. Hope you enjoyed the video. WhatCulture is a bunch of morons. Until next time.